Now I am going to give a floor to most wanted presentation today, I suppose, because as you heard before, the AGTC will play a major role during the next programming period, and Peter will help explore us how it's going to be. Please, Peter.
Yeah, thank you and good morning, everyone. I will try to say a little bit about the thinking behind, say, what the EDTC will do in terms of say, elaborating the operation proposal. I mean, where we are in the thinking at the moment. Of course, it's heavily based on the one hand on what the program as such says about the different, say, content-oriented elements, but it's also a little bit about the first ideas, which are maybe at the moment general and where it is necessary over the coming months to say detail the things much more than what it could be done today. I think in this detailing, it's obvious that in my view, the seminar here has actually given quite a number of food for thoughts, and I can say I have noted quite meticulous, say, different ideas that came up also in the fishbowl yesterday that I participated in. So I think in that respect you can be happy that the seminar has actually nourished the thinking that the ESPON EDTC will have to undertake in the coming months. I'm afraid that some of the slides that I will show you is a little bit of repetition, but I have also spoken to Timo, and at this stage of say clarification for everyone, I mean, it's maybe not so bad that we have a little bit of say repeating of the setting and of the content that is envisaged. I will be more detailed on the content than any of the other presentations have been that you have seen up till now. Say the questions that are to be addressed here in this part of the seminar is about what types of actions, what types of activities will the new program carry through. How will it do the knowledge transfer? How will the outreach activities be, say, foreseen? Which ones will be foreseen? How is the thinking for the moment, at least, in terms of how this should be managed and processed? And how can you, many of you, I'm sure, are interested in participating in the program activities and also to benefit from the program. We have heard a little bit already about that, and last but not least, maybe also a bit repetitive, but something about the timing of say, the exercise, maybe the most, say, optimistic timing even, but I think it's good that you have some kind of feeling for this as well. And of course, all this about timing is maybe just underlining, and the uncertainty about the exact timing underlining that it is quite a hefty process to actually, first of all, to get, say, a common understanding on the program, a common understanding on say, the rather radical change of the setup and the modalities of the way ESPON will function in the future. And then also say all the side issues that is raising, that is coming up in terms of juridical issues, in terms of, say, changing the mindset and make things work and get it operational. It's maybe, if I may say from my own view, it's maybe a bigger say, job than anybody thought from the very beginning when we said we have to change things. We have to respond to the say, more critical things that we have heard. We need to bring ESPON one step up, say, the ladder, if you like, and upgrade and renew ESPON for this next procedure. We cannot just stay as we have been up till now, because that is too risky. ESPON has to be more powerful in say, the European context, in particular the policy arena, to actually have a good situation maybe after 2020. So this is the, say, just that you are aware that this is part of say, raison d'être for doing as much as we are now going to do. Just to go back and say, okay, we have to prepare this operation proposal in the EDTC, and there are, of course, a very important starting point. You have seen it, I think Timo also used this slide yesterday, that it is about, say, improving the transfer, it's more outreach, it's about, say, getting into the policy context with the right timing, with the right messages in order to, say, improve the understanding of the territorial dimension of different, say, initiatives, different policy proposals, and so on. It's also a matter of, say, because we are part of cohesion policy, also a matter of say, emphasizing more that, say, other programs and macro regions could benefit from, say, the territorial evidence that ESPON actually already have to a large extent on the shelves. And this is maybe also one of the things that, not maybe, but it is one of the things that we have to take up in the operational proposal. Then there has been also within this mindset quite a lot of say, and I think this is one of the key elements for the new ESPON period, that is that we have to be able to be more swift, more rapid, to deliver on the basis of the knowledge we have into, say, occasions which very often comes with short notice, and where you can say that to foresee that we run big public procurement procedures or other type of procedures to find external expertise that can help us with that is a no-go. It's simply not swiftly enough when you have to comply with these kind of rules. It's obvious that the scientific quality maybe a stronger validation than before this. We also have to consider how could that be organized, the data as well in that respect. I will come back to that. I know there was a question from Roger earlier. I will try to pick up on that a little bit later. And in order to actually be able to also meet the demand on say, delivering swifter, more rapidly, and so on, it's obvious that the ESPON, say, core, I don't know what you want to call it, but the coordination unit have, when it becomes an EDTC, to be able to do more, or the EDTC has the need to be able to have more in-house capacity to actually deliver these inputs to the policy processes in a swift fashion. So there is, say, a move where you can see that in the EDTC we will have to prepare for say, organizing and also including this kind of capacity that can do what has been said before, different types of documents that could feed in to different policy processes. The administrative burden, I think that has been already say touched upon and spelled out by Timo in to a large extent, so I don't want to go into that, but it is about service contracts in the future, which is a huge, say, relief for say, in particular those of you that have been lead partners before. There will be an EDTC. We have also heard it will be the single beneficiary, so I will not spend time on that. Of course, preparing the operation proposal, this is also one of the elements that was part of the evaluations, that we have to be much clearer upfront which target group are we trying to address with the activities. So that is why I also say repeat this slide, because you can also see that there is a clear direction saying that we have to be maybe more attentive to the policy arena than we have been up till now. And of course it's about saying that the maturity of ESPON, the maturity of the territorial evidence that ESPON is now having makes it more interesting to maybe give more emphasis to be there in the policy context. This is where we are being measured at the end. We are not being measured as a scientific program, if you like, only, but the main say, kind of factor of success is to the extent that we can actually see an uptake of say, the territorial dimension in policies, hopefully based on some information and some ideas, some maybe even recommendations that the ESPON 2020 program has delivered. So this is also important for understanding the amended or revamped or whatever word you want to call mindset behind the new program. It has also been said that when preparing the operation proposal, of course, the EDTC is on say the content side of the program implementation, the big chunk of the budget as well, and it is the priority axis. This is also the way to say it in the future, that it's an axis which has to do with territorial evidence transfer, observation tools, and outreach. It's not very fantastic, but it is actually just a condensation of some of the key words in the specific objectives that I will show here. And you can see that there are, within the priority axis 1, there are 4 specific objectives that are specific, if you like, for the priority axis 1, but of course the ESPON EDTC will also have to contribute to the specific objective 5, which is all about the leaner administrative provisions and implementation of program activities. But you can see the 4 objectives here, and I will take them one by one and give you a little bit more detail on what is actually behind these specific objectives. The first one is as we normally say, this is the base of all the activities, and I think also Timo mentioned that yesterday, that we have to continue to do applied research. We have to keep the knowledge base of ESPON intact and also improve it. Over time there are new issues coming up, the policy agenda changes, and this is very important, that what thematics are taking up here are driven by policy demands. So in that respect, and also in the way that the new program will operate with the ESPON EDTC every year, making an annual work plan, and there is a process foreseen in that respect as well. Part of this process is actually to define what is the most important evidence that policymakers would like to see ESPON deliver. And this is where this specific objective come in, and you can say, when you then go further down and see what kind of activities can be implemented here, it's actually nearly everything, because it's cross-thematic, it's thematic, it's prospective, it's visions, it's scenarios, it's impact studies or assessments. And I think that is giving the necessary flexibility for the monitoring committee also to give to pick the right themes, and the themes that actually for them looks as if the ones where Europe needs to know more on the territorial dynamics. The target here is to implement 22 projects. Maybe the target will be surpassed by reality. We will have to see, but I can only say that the targets, I think we also spoke about that yesterday, they are not over ambitious for the different specific objectives. It will be called for tender, there will be tender service contracts, but maybe it's important to say that part of the the way we are thinking about the operation proposal is also to condense the timeline. That means that we will probably try to have delivery times of maximum 1.5 years on these projects. So those of you who have been involved in the applied research under the current program, I mean, will have to face maybe a shorter delivery time for the projects. It will of course depend on what it is, and if it's a project where there are good reasons for saying something different, either shorter or maybe a bit longer, then of course we will take that into consideration. But just the general feeling is, in order to be there with new results and not come too late, for instance, for the 7th cohesion report, we need to to compress things a little bit also when it comes to applied research projects. Specific objective 2 is say actually only partly what you are used to. I mean, here we have the targeted analysis as are more or less what we know from this program, and which Michaela also said yesterday was one of the successes of the current program. Lots of interest, more interest than the budget could actually carry. So targeted analysis is an important thing, and it's the demand-driven bottom-up part, if you like, of also the new program, which has to be organized. It has to be organized in a way so the lead time or whatever, the time it takes from we start till we actually have the analysis done together with the interaction with the stakeholders is not as long as it was in the current program, and we have some ideas in that respect. Also the monitoring committee have been discussing this. Then you can see that the territorial evidence support to other programs and also to macro regions is having a clear indication in the program, and this is something that also needs to be part, of course, of the operation proposal, how this should be implemented in practice. Those two elements, you can say, they are the ones where you might be interested in providing the analytical support for this kind of say activities or projects, and this will then follow the now normal say procedure of call for tender and so on, and service contracts. However, the third bullet point on the screen, which is the short territorial policy briefs, working papers, the rapid deliveries, where there is suddenly a request coming from I don't know, it can be from the European Parliament on a particular issue, where they ask us, do you have any say evidence on this or that, how it distributes itself on European regions and so on. This is of course the most urgent situation. There can also be, it's also envisaged that there should be, say, from this particular activities, a support to the EU presidencies on their thematic priorities, in, of course, under the condition that ESPON actually has something to deliver on this. But you know, to connect, say, the existing knowledge to the policy arena much closer, this requires that ESPON is capable of making, say, some small analysis, some small briefs that fits into, say, the agenda of meetings, of conferences, and also, I would say, being able to present them in a convincing way at these events. Maybe not, maybe something else to say here in terms of how the thinking around the operation proposal is. It's also very important not only to be descriptive. ESPON needs in the next period to move towards having opinions. I mean, to be able to say you could do it like this, you could do it like that. Not only say that it looks more favorable in this part of Europe than in that part of Europe. I think this is also part of the, say, the maturement, if you like, of the ESPON program to move, of course, cautiously, but to move in that direction. And this is what this third bullet point is all about, and this is not something that will be contracted for services. This is something which is part of this improved in-house capacity that is envisaged for the ESPON EDTC. And there will be a staffing. You have already seen, some of you maybe, that there are 3 vacancies at the moment, and there will be at least a similar number coming up over the autumn of this year. And this is all to create this kind of group in-house that can very swiftly do these kind of deliveries based on what has been achieved in terms of applied research, targeted analysis already. Specific objective 3, here we are, say, on the observation, the monitoring of territorial trends. And we have a system, as you might know, called the European Territorial Monitoring System, which will also be the base for the continuation. And maybe I should say that in a more general way, that what ESPON has achieved up till now, of course, the ESPON EDTC in different papers and so on are allowed to make use of that. So the continuity is ensured in the way that the whole new system is constructed. So that also has to do with the monitoring system, and we also touched upon that yesterday, that we have something for the Baltic Sea region, and there has been a demand already that this kind of systems, if it was say seen as a good thing, that other macro regions could get something similar with a monitoring system that actually is based on European key indicators, and then say in a way complemented with indicators that are relevant for the strategy of the macro region and the things that people involved there are trying to achieve. There will be reports regular on say trends, and of course the ESPON database is also something which might need a couple of words from my side. Here the thinking is that we need to say go more into a maybe not so much a development say phase as we have had up till now. We have had a lot of say improvement of the architecture of the database and so on, but we are going now into more say a production phase, if you like, with regular updates and maybe not so ambitious on adding elements to the database. It needs to become, say, a source of information that people feel comfortable in using and which is easy to actually access and find the information. So there are maybe also some improvements there. We have, as one of the three vacancies I just mentioned, you can see that there is the idea to actually strengthen the capacity in-house here in the ESPON EDTC as well, to be able to manage the database, say close to the core, if you like, of the exercise, and we hope that this will also bring us in a position where that can support, say, this ability to do things rapidly towards the policy arena, being it mapping, being it small statistical things. All in all, the toolbox, and this is part of the program as well, will have to undergo a kind of a revision to become more integrated, to fine-tune some elements, and that can also be, as we heard yesterday from the Committee of the Regions, that some kind of further elaboration of the arts methodology for TIA, quick scans, and the like can be part of that activity. At least I noted that. And we also need to promote the tools maybe to a larger extent. And one of the ways of doing that is also to think of say having some kind of user support, online user support. I don't know how that shall be organized, neither hotline or whatever, maybe also in terms of say an actual use of some of the tools. But this is part of the say requirements that the ESPON EDTC will have to include in the operation proposal that will be drafted from now on in principle. The target here is 8 tools. That's maybe once again at the low end, but at least this is what has been approved. Here, some of the activities will definitely also be say service contracted and outsourced, but here again there might be some task for some of you in this that could interest some of you in this respect, but it's again too early to be more precise than I am now. Then we have the important outreach, which we have defined as a new word. And I think it's very smart, as Timo also said, that we try to distinguish between communication and outreach. This is so important, so we don't mix up things. But here you will probably see some of the say, classical kind of things. I mean, seminars, events like this will be part of the outreach strategy that will govern the way that we do outreach activities. The outreach strategy was mentioned, and I think it's important to say as well that this is also a key element of the operation proposal to make such a strategy, and maybe some of the bullet points here gives indications what can be say expected as elements in the outreach strategy. I think it's in particular, I mean, there will still be reporting, there will still be, say, the classical elements, as I said, maybe more emphasis on, say, fewer events. We will have to discuss that, more powerful events. Maybe there will be as well, say, in the say, publication planning, more shorter documents than the long ones that you have seen we have done in over the last 2 programming periods. But in particular, I think we also need, I know everybody is doing it, saying we need to be more digital. We need to be communicating in a much more modern way, because in order to capture the next generation and so on, we need to try to go into this kind of development path as other programs are doing, and this will be, say, maybe even a digital strategy element in the outreach strategy, if you like, to consider how can we actually foresee to make the ESPON 2020 outreach more powerful by using different say, of the modern techniques for communication. I mean, you know that we have some e-books already, and there's also been, some of you were voicing something about you need to have an ESPON app and so on. I think some of the things that gives access to the website and maybe to some particular element in it, all these issues will I think be an important new element in the operation proposal in the outreach strategy that will be tabled. Again, here it's obvious that there will be tender and service contracts, and speaking again about the outreach strategy, I think the way we are thinking at the moment is, yes, there is outreach activities that are say on say the European level, if you like, and that will mainly probably be the task of the ESPON EDTC to implement those, maybe with some help of say event organizers and so on. But there should also be a transnational and national outreach. And here we are say contemplating in maybe having one big project that could take up these outreach activities, and this is where, of course, the collaboration with the ESPON contact points becomes rather interesting. And as it was also mentioned already, I mean, if ESPON contact points are eligible, I mean, they are not excluded for competing for such contracts, if so be. So in terms of the tendering and so on, I think it's fair to say that this process is of course following the normal rules for open competition. So there is no restrictions, and both public and private partners can say send in offers on the tenders that are being published by the ESPON EDTC. And the benefits have already been voiced so many times, but maybe it's good to say it again. I mean, no progress reporting as you know it, only invoices. This will be the future for those of you who win contracts and become service providers for EDTC activities, and yeah, all the burden will if you like stay in Luxembourg, as the grant agreement between the MA and the ESPON EDTC will of course trigger off the normal control mechanisms that many of you have tried on your own body in the current program. So just the last slide on the tentative timing of first calls. I think it's with the decision that many, I think it has also been voiced actually, that on Monday the key decisions were taken by the ESPON 2020 Monitoring Committee on all the necessary documents for, say, bringing the managing authority of the ESPON 2020 program into the position that they could invite the ESPON EDTC to submit this operation proposal that I have been talking about. And it will, say, include, as you can see, a multi-annual work program and then an annual work plan as far as it looks, covering this year plus the next year. And then, as I also mentioned already, the outreach strategy that is an important element of all the activities for the next 5 to 7 years. And the ESPON EDTC is then, with a positive, tentative, say, timetable, supposed to, by late July, to submit the operation proposal, and then there will be an assessment of the proposal as set by the monitoring committee. So we are somewhere in early October before, say, the MA is in a position to come back to the ESPON EDTC and to actually do the last part of the process. There might be some amendments. Hopefully they are light, but in any case, we should carry on and then have the grant agreement, say, issued at that moment, because that is then, say, the next big step in the process, which makes it feasible for the ESPON EDTC to start thinking of, say, publicizing call for tenders, and this will be in late October, maybe early November, as it looks now, and I can also tell you that the first calls will include 7 thematic applied research projects, or 7 applied research projects, and also the ESPON database has been seen as a project that needs to be set ashore in the first phase. Then we will also, as quickly as we can after this, map the demand for targeted analysis. We will have, as said already in the operation proposal, to have a very clear procedure that hopefully can condense the time it takes, first step is of course still to get, say, the demand from bottom up. That means groups of stakeholders that tell us what they would like to have from ESPON, how they would like to add a European perspective on some particular issues that they are dealing with, development issues and so forth. And on the basis of that, we then have to do a call for tenders to find the analytical expertise. And this goes in principle also for this territorial evidence support to other programs. This will be more or less probably a similar procedure. Then I took the last one on outreach services because, as it became evident before the coffee break, there is a lot of ECP interest, and I think the outreach services will not be for this year. In particular, this transnational outreach, as I mentioned, I think we need to have a bit more, say, clarity. First of all, on the ESPON contact points as such, they are not nominated in all countries by far at the moment, and maybe also a first discussion in this platform that was mentioned by Timo, the platform that gives the possibility to go more in detail. What is this cooperation? What is the collaboration? What can we eventually do together, and this needs more clarity about the ECPs as such as well, and that could easily be late 2015 eventually, and then that could also maybe give the timing that is adequate in terms of not starting, say, the transnational national outreach activities before we are in 2016. But that doesn't mean that, of course, as I've said already, this in-house capacity, which we already have to some extent, but not enough, we will of course continue using that, and we will continue to try to make sure that ESPON is visible in different contexts, based on the results that many of you have also been involved in delivering. This is so important that we just do not say disappear from the what you call it, the skyline or the policy arenas, whatever you want. So this will of course continue, and this will be a parallel thing to do. It will be a thing to do in parallel to actually get say this operation proposal through the procedure envisaged. I think I have been very open in telling you quite a lot of say insights, thoughts, and so on. But for sure, as soon as the real work starts on the operation proposal, I mean that will be a very intensive one for the ESPON EDTC, which I think it was in one of the slides as well. I mean we staff the ESPON EDTC by the end of the month. So at the moment it's there, but it's not operational. There is no staff and at the moment. But this will, as was always also said, you will see the colleagues of the ESPON coordination unit as EDTC staff of the future, if they so wish. I think that is what I would like to say now, and I think you should, as I said here in the second red line, you should look forward to participate, and we hope to see you as active bidders and active in terms of getting also the ESPON 2020 sailing, and also delivering interesting things for the policy arena. So we are small fish, as we also said yesterday, in the fish bowl, and I mean we need to be strong in the arguments. We need to be strong in the ideas in order to say promote say territorial issues, territorial cohesion, and dimensions in policy. So let's try to move in that direction together. We do at least what we can do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Peter. I just want to point out once more the most important things I just noted during your speech, and those are: thematics would be driven by policy demand, shorter delivery times, change in interaction with stakeholders. ESPON need to move towards opinions, improved in-house capacity, monitoring of macro-regional strategies, more users-oriented toolbox and monitoring data. So, and probably one big project for transnational national outreach activities. So, and by doing this presentation, I believe you just give partly answers to those questions you raised yesterday during the fish bowls. But for sure you could ask more. Please do. Okay. Who was the first one? Okay.
I have a question. Do you have any simulation of the budget structure for those objectives?
I think there is a simulation which I think part of it was mentioned yesterday, that it's around 15 million euros for the applied research. This is the biggest part of the external expertise that is foreseen. And I can't remember by heart the exact amount. Maybe other colleagues here have this piece of paper, but I don't remember by heart.
I was wondering if there's going to be major differences in the tendering. Right now we have the part 1 and the part 2, and when you answer it, is it going to be in the new program similar to the way we did it in the past?
That I'm sure that I understand part 1 and part 2. What do you refer to? The way that the project specification was made?
Right, and the way that you write the tenders, and the way you that whole process. If the service contracts will fundamentally change that, or if there will be very much more or less the same for the people who are applying in previous program if the new program will be, in a sense, similar?
I think that partly it has been said a little bit about it by Timo, but I think the call for tenders will have a technical part and an administrative part. You have probably seen the tenders that we have already. We have actually, I think, I don't know the exact number, but it's quite a substantial number of call for tenders that we have carried through on smaller projects within the current program, and it will be this model that will be followed. But I think it's fair to say that what Timo also said, that it will change in the way that it will have to be more precise on deliveries. And it also gives us less, say, flexibility in terms of say, the whole timing of the deliveries, because we don't want to play ourselves into a situation where, say, bidders that didn't win the contract, they can say we have changed the rules of the game during the implementation. This is dangerous in terms of say, having trouble.
Okay, clear.
I have a question related to the new times of service contracts. In the former times, you have to have a transnational project group of at least 3 partners or 3 countries. Is this still necessary, or is it possible that you have just one partner of one country, for example?
I think maybe Timo wants to as well. You can start, Timo, then I'm sure I don't say something wrong.
I think here we are bound to the rules for public procurement, and as far as we interpret it, we cannot make this kind of provisions that there is a necessity to have 3 partners involved. It's on the other side, it's also obvious when we talk about these applied research projects, which have the principle of covering the whole EU space, that it might be too ambitious to cover that all with one institution. So in that regard, it may not be a formal requirement, but just out of the context, it might be a good idea to involve more in that. But this will then be precised in the terms of reference which are published at the moment.
Just maybe to add, I think it's fine. It is the safe way of saying it. Maybe just to complement by saying that it was actually a discussion also by monitoring committee, and I think there were, say, quite many voices saying that if it was possible, we should try to keep this, say, special characteristics of the ESPON program, having, say, a consortium of partners from at least 3 countries, but maybe in formal terms it will not be possible to put it that clearly into the terms of reference, but of course there can be ways of maybe indicating that knowledge about all parts of Europe and whatever it could be that indicates that, and maybe automatically result in say the best proposals will include more than one. This is a little bit what Timo also said. So.
Thank you. I have actually several questions. Of course, one of them concerns the topics you foresee, the 7 topics of applied research. Is it known? And if not, when would that be known to us? Another question that I have is, do you expect the contractors to pre-finance the projects for 1.5 years? Or do you foresee some payments in the meantime? Another question concerns how many outreach projects, transnational outreach projects do you foresee, and what is going to be their duration? Thank you.
I am afraid I have to say that some of your questions are too detailed to be able. Nobody knows at the moment. I mean, the one on how many outreach projects. This is too early to be able to answer this. Concerning the interim payments, I'm looking for Timo. I mean, whether this will be a feasibility, but I can say before you have the microphone ready, I can say that the 7 themes that will be in the first round of call for tenders will only be known when the call opens. And that is in order to give everybody the same fair chance and not give anybody prior information about what it is. Otherwise, we run the risk that the whole procedure will be nullified.
Yes, I mean, it's exactly as you say, Peter. I mean, what concerns the payments, we have to look into that in pre-financing payments, but the situation actually will allow that as the payments can trigger off from deliveries, that there can be a kind of stepwise payment of the project, so that you don't need to wait until the end to be paid. And I think that's also the good news, that because the payment is activated on the base of the delivery, you don't have this time lag then of preparing a progress report and guide it through the first level control. So you just invoice when the delivery is accepted, and then the money should flow. So.
Thank you. If there are any additional questions, yes, please.
Thank you. Just a question regarding the terms of reference. Are they published in advance, before the calls, or do you get all the information during the call about the procedures? It's not about the content, it's about the procedure. And as I mentioned before, it just would be nice to have some information, something like a policy brief about the procedure in advance, to inform our national interested partners about the procedure, not about the content, in order to keep to the rules of public procurement.
To my understanding, it's an integral part. I mean, you have a technical part, you have an administrative part in the terms of reference. And as I remember our terms of reference, the selection criteria and so on can be adapted according to the theme. So they are, in a way, an integrated package. And unless anybody else says something different, I believe at least that it will be at the same moment as you get the information about what deliveries are asked for, so to speak, that you get the administrative. But there are, of course, probably the large part of these administrative conditions, they will more or less be the same from tender to tender.
Could you elaborate a little bit how the new way of contracting affects the internal relationships? So will there be one, I mean, we have still transnational project groups. Will there be one contract with the lead partner and then subcontracting, or how will this be implemented?
Okay, I go to the front. Okay. No, I mean, as Peter said, we have already our rules in principle in place because we have done procurement so far as well. And normally there are two ways of dealing with it. One is a joint tender, where you have an agreement between partners on how you split the liability and the commitment vis-à-vis the contractor, which is then the EGTC, or you have a subcontracting arrangement where then the main partner takes the full liability. So the rules are relatively clear, and here again, like the question which was raised before about the rules of the calls and so on, because we are in the framework of procurement, there is the set of rules given by the procurement law, and which gives also some insurance in a way, but it's a bit more formal. But it's known by everybody, it's a law. So there are only some elements which can be specified, which are more flexible, where there is a bit of flexibility, and that comes with the tendering documents, as Peter said. So in that regard, there is nothing actually to report in addition to what is in the technical or in the administrative part from the tendering.
So,
thank you. I have more questions like Volker had, but it's about this the outreach projects. You said, Peter, that it's possible there will only be one, let's say, partner or just one institution that's going to be running projects in this new ESPON, but in the outreach, I see it's quite hard that there will only be one partner who is going to make an outreach project for the entire Europe. Do you envisage some kind of different provisions for this project than for the applied research projects? I mean, the TPGs now, they were more in the previous projects, the ECP projects or the TPGs, usually they were more partners covering the different parts of Europe. But you said previously that it's possible that there will only be one partner who's going to run entire project. And for me, it's quite hard to imagine that the outreach project would be run only by one partner. Do you envisage any kind of special provisions for this type of project or not? I mean, the number of the partners, the coverage.
I don't recall that I said it would be only one partner, but
no, you said that it could be.
There will be only one. We are thinking in the direction whether it would be smart in the operation proposal to think of only one transnational outreach project. That would then, if we couple that to what was said about, say, the number of partners and all that before, might be that we cannot, say, prescribe that it has to be X partners from X different countries, but I mean, the whole type and nature of such a project will probably not be feasible to carry through in a high quality fashion without having, say, several partners from several countries involved, and it's part of the reflection, you know, whether we dare to propose that, and whether also the monitoring committee at the end of the day will accept that as part of the outreach strategy and the operation proposal. But it is one of the ideas and that we are flirting with, I would say, and I mean, of course, we have also to see, as said before, I mean, we are building on what the ESPON has done and achieved up till now, and we have had 8 ECP projects where there is a number of good experiences, and we tried, as you remember, building up during the years of operation. So the last project maybe was say the one that tried to say be the most efficient, learning from the others. So I mean, that is the source of inspiration we have in the ESPON EDTC once it's there to think about the transnational outreach. I don't know, I hope it was a little bit clearer.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, once more, yeah, like it.
Thank you. I have a rather technical question. According to the procurement law, to which procurement law does the procedure obey? Or is this a national procurement law? Because in Austria we have our national procurement laws. We have to obey them. But now in this construction of an EGTC, it might be interesting to hear that.
I can start, and then I think it's both European money and placed in Luxembourg. It's both European and Luxembourg public procurement. And the one, normally it's said the one that has the most demanding, say, rules is the one we have to apply.
No, we can even say even more precise. I mean, in practical terms, the Luxembourg procurement law is applicable because the GTC is based in Luxembourg, but it has fully implemented the European procurement law in the national law. So that's the first thing to say. And what the second thing is that actually the audit guidelines from the Commission regarding the structural funds ask for applying the rules, the EU rules. So that means actually that, for example, for national law, you may have a certain threshold where you can have different law procedures applied up to a certain threshold. I think in Luxembourg it would be 120,000 euros for a service contract which allows to national law. But in practice we would apply the EU law also for the smaller contracts because it's obvious that this program has a mission which is EU-wide, and that access should be given to all members of the EU. So there's no question to apply this law also for the smaller projects. And in that regard, I mean, and that's then the advantage. I mean, this EU. There's a EU directive that's transposed in the national law, so you will not have real surprises when you go for the tendering, because it's everywhere the same. Yep.
Since we are discussing about the details, what about the VAT?
Shall I start?
I will leave the room.
No, I mean the VAT is very easy to say. I mean, we are in the field of service contracting, and there are the VAT rules to be applied. So we have. As we know it at the moment, we have the reverse. I mean, we have the prestateur. I mean, the one who is delivering is subject to VAT, and we have certain rules then in service contracting which are to apply, like the reverse charge principle and so on. But this is also something which is in the end not relevant for the service provider, because for him it's neutral. I mean, he gets the money, he makes an offer without VAT, and this is evaluated on the base without VAT, and then he is also paid for it. So there is nothing to bother about, if I can say, for the institution. Okay.
So, do you no more questions? No, everybody is happy with answers. No. Okay. But you would like to say something?
Just to say that as I also indicated, and you can also hear it from some of the replies here, at least from my side, that there are several issues still to think about and to further detail and hopefully once the operation proposal is adopted and by the monitoring committee and everything is clear to start really rolling. I mean, all these say details will be crystal clear at this moment, hopefully. So from now on till sometime in early October at the best, I mean, there there will be a quite intensive process also for the MA and the EDTC to try to get full control on all say aspects. So, but thank you again for all the useful inputs during the seminar, which I would think can inspire the EDTC say considerations very much. Thanks.
And, that's a very pleasant moment for me, because I would like to ask the incoming EU presidency, Luxembourg, to present their priorities, say, thoughts and ideas. Please, Frederick Christoph Richters.
Hello, I represent the Ministry for Sustainable Development and Infrastructure, so I'm a colleague of Timo, and today I'm going to talk about the activities under our presidency, mainly in the fields of territorial cohesion and urban policy, but also touching about a bit cohesion policy. So, as you may know, with our colleagues from Italy and Latvia, we have the trio presidency program that consists of 5 actions, where actions 1, 2, and 3 concern more the territorial side. Action 4 deals more with cohesion policy, and Action 5 is in the field of urban policy. On Action 1, there has already been some work on the Latvian Presidency at the anti-CCP meeting and the DG meeting. Our colleague Kai Böhme presented the results of a survey where I hope you were able to provide your input on the implementation of the Territorial Cohesion Objective and the Territorial Agenda 2020. So during our presidency, we will present sort of the final results of this survey and discuss it some more. On Action 5, our Latvian colleagues have also been very active already, where they have talked about the economic potential of small and medium cities. But we are going to focus during our presidency more on the cross-border dimension, in specific the cross-border polycentric regions. When we talk just a bit more in detail about 3 of the actions that we are going to focus on specifically, there's the one about territorial scenarios and visions of Europe for 2050, where we will explore the potential of a political debate. We will critically assess the available material and approaches, and we have already done so, as you can see, in a workshop that was held in Luxembourg on the 23rd of April, where also ASBON material was a point of discussion, in specific the ET 2050 project that I also presented yesterday in the fishbowl discussion. We hope that at the end of these 6 months we will create the common political understanding at the ministerial level of the added value of debating such a scenario envisioning process, but as of yet we are still sort of debating internally what kind of form this will take and how far we can go and are willing to go. Action 3 is on the need for specific legal provisions for border regions, and obviously the 3 bullet points here are not able to do justice to the complexity of the topic. But what it's basically about is that we are investigating the feasibility of voluntarily applicable specific legal provisions in border regions. So this means that, for example, you have the rules of one country could be in this specific border region be applicable also to the other country, or that there's a compromise sought between the 2 legal frameworks. But obviously these are voluntarily applicable, and they would also be very limited in time and very limited in scope to really address specific cross-border problems. So for this we are building sort of the case by collecting examples of issues and rules hampering cross-border cooperation. And this also happened at a workshop last month on the 19th of May in Luxembourg, where we had a research report done by MOT, the Mission Opérationnelle Transfrontalière, on these issues and rules. In the field of urban policy, as I said, we will be exploring the umbrella theme of small and medium cities that we've all focused on, the Italian as well as the Latvian presidency, in the context of cross-border polycentric regions. We are really interested in how different cases across Europe, so not only sort of the greater region in Luxembourg, France, Belgium, and Germany, but also other cases from Europe, on how they are able to reach the critical mass of a metropolitan region and sort of punch above their weight and play sort of in the big league. In this regard, we are specifically interested in sort of analyzing success factors and identifying best practices with regards to governance, funding from the European Structural and Investment Funds, and common development strategies. For this, there's also a workshop that is going to be held at the end of June, and for this workshop, registration is still open, so I warmly invite every one of you to come. Sort of one of the biggest events that we have planned is the conference on 25 years of Interreg, where we will not only celebrate the achievements of the past 25 years, but also look at the future of Interreg and what lies ahead, what contributions Interreg has made. This is a project organized by the Luxembourg Presidency, but also by the European Commission and the Interact program, and we are expecting about 500 participants. This will take place not in Luxembourg city, but in Esch-Belval, which is an old industrial site, which now houses sort of the big new university building that is brand new. And for this event, registration is also open. Here you can see sort of what we are looking at. We have the screening of a specific edition of Le Dessous des Cartes by Jean-Christophe Victor on Interreg. We are debating in panel discussions the role of Interreg in labor market and demographic change, but also in environment. Also sort of looking ahead at the Paris conference that will take place later in the year. We are thinking out of the box with sort of a bit innovative subjects in relation to Interreg. We will take a global view where we have invited representatives from Africa and Latin America to talk about their experiences with cross-border cooperation. And sort of what we are really proud of is the last panel that is going to be sort of a high-level panel on visions for your region and Europe in 2040. What would it take to get there, and what could be the role of Interreg? We are also looking to be sort of very inclusive for this entire conference with publishing questions on Twitter beforehand, so that sort of everyone that is not able to come can still have an input to the conference. These results will be discussed by the panelists, and we're also going to web stream the event so that sort of no one is left out. But as I said, registration is also still open. This is our website of our department, and on the left-hand side, under EU Presidency 2015, we have sort of we have put up the workshops that we have held so far, and also the possibility to register for the workshop on the 30th of June. You will also be able to get the workshop program, and all the PDF files of the presentations are also up there. And I know for a fact that also the Interreg conference should be up there any minute, hopefully today or tomorrow. This is the calendar that we are talking about. As you can see, September is a very busy month for us with the first intergovernmental meeting, URBAC Monitoring Committee, the conference, and the first Interreg Europe Monitoring Committee. Then in October we have a General Affairs Council on Cohesion Policy, Open Days workshops on the 14th and 15th of October, and then sort of towards the end of October and November we have the big intergovernmental meetings. But last but never least, the ESPON week is taking place from the 7th to the 10th of December 2015. Also, this will be in Luxembourg City, so we are very much looking forward to this. And well, we thank you for your attention. This is our organizing team. Before I go, I also want to thank our Latvian colleagues, not only for the brilliant organization of this event, but for the cooperation and coordination throughout their presidency. I think this has been a very successful trio so far, and we hope that this continues during our presidency as well. Thank you.
And as the next speaker, I would like to ask Daniel to present the Netherlands' priorities, as they are working hard to be ready to carry out a lot of activities they foreseen already know. Please, Daniel.
Yes, thank you very much. I think the most people that are regular visitors to ESPON meetings, they know my face. If you don't know, you will see me in exactly 1 year and 1 week more and more. I'm Daniel de Groot, working for the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and the Environment as a policy advisor on spatial planning, and I'm the Dutch MC member. I will tell you something about the Dutch presidency. That will be the second time the ESPON week is in the Netherlands. Maybe the people that were there in Nijmegen in 2004, they know the logo, because the logo is exactly the same, only the numbers are changed. But who was there in Nijmegen? Please, hands. So, yeah, quite some people that are involved for a long time in ESPON. So they love to come back, but we will not go to Nijmegen this time. I will show you later where we will go. There are 3 main priorities for the Dutch presidency in general, and that is about better regulation. Our commissioner, Frans Timmermans, he is about better regulation, and we want to really change things, less laws, less regulations to do it better. The next thing is innovation, growth and jobs, the economy, and also the social side of that. And the third thing is engaging the public in Europe itself, but also in the Netherlands as well, as you know, our view on the EU at the moment. We do it in the trio presidency together with Slovakia and Malta, what are different countries than the Netherlands, so it is hard to find really the topics, but we hope we can find some things that we have in common and carry over in the coming presidencies. We go to Amsterdam, our national capital. You see the area where it will be. It is on a former Navy base, not far from the central station and the center. It is an area in transformation because all the military activities, they will disappear from the place. And it will be a mixed area in the future. And we will use it as the central location for the presidency. So all the meetings, from ministerial meetings to the ESPON meeting, will be there on that location. You see on the downside, you see a white building. That is the National Maritime Museum, and there also some events will happen during the presidency. So I hope you look forward to come to vibrant Amsterdam. What is the program, the timetable? We have a combined urban development group and anti-CCP meeting on the 6th and 7th of April. We have called the Innovation Estafette. It's a combined organization from the Ministry of the Interior, the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and the Ministry of Infrastructure and Environment about innovation in a very broad way. And we also all invite you to come there and see examples of innovation from both business and government. We have an international conference called Provia about the adaptation futures, more on the climate and water management, on the 10th and 13th of May. And we have combined with it a roundtable discussion about territorial cohesion on the 10th of May. On the 11th, we have the DG meeting about territorial cohesion. The last meeting will be the ESPON week from the 14th till the 17th. And the first 2 days will be the meetings of MC and ECP. Last 2 days, the seminar. Of course, there will be also meetings around the urban agenda thing that my colleague Pedro from the Ministry of the Interior were talking about, but you saw yesterday his timetable. And we work together in that. What we see for the territorial development as urgent challenges, what we want to focus. I listed them all, but the ones that are bold, we see as important topics that we can discuss during the ESPON week. So I will speak more about that. When it is about innovation, we will speak and think about the spatial conditions for and changing the competitiveness of European regions. because you know the world is changing, the position of Europe is changing as well, and we need to be competitive for the future. And there we also combine it with the topics of the urban agenda, and polycentric and metropolitan topics where the Luxembourg presidency is working on. The second topic is bottom-up planning. You see in the Netherlands and other countries in Europe that the planning is not very centralized from the national government anymore. It's decentralized on the regional and local levels, and more people are involved in planning. Different parties are involved, and we want to have a look more into that and share experiences from all over Europe on bottom-up planning. And the last one is the impact of the EU policy on the national spatial planning. Our ECP, David Evers, he did fantastic research about it. It's still in Dutch, but in that time, I'm sure he can tell something about it in English. And it's very interesting that you see that every single part of the Netherlands is covered by EU legislation, and it will be not only in the Netherlands; it will be everywhere. And to see what are the results of that, and the impact of the EU policy. So I think 3 very interesting topics we want to discuss with you. So see you next year in Amsterdam.
And finally, I will ask Peter Mehlbye to speak on behalf of Slovakia presidency. So the colleague is not present today, so Peter will make this introduction.
Where's Caro? She is not here. Can we find it? Session 1, session... I must admit, I don't know where they saved it. I can make a try. Day 2.
Should be there.
Here? Yes, it's there. F5, is that what you say? Doesn't work. Like that. Yeah, I'm a stand-in, that's true. And I just promised the Slovakians just to give you some key elements of their thinking up till now. And as we all know, it's say autumn next year that the Slovakians will I think for the first time say preside the EU process. And I think we can say it rather swiftly that they intend to have, say, events in Bratislava, and as we all know, it's accessible from many destinations in Europe via Vienna, but also, of course, in Central and Eastern Europe, it's maybe well located for other modes of transport to get to meetings, etc. The program is still under discussion, and as you can see from the second bullet, they envisage to have the program more clear by the end of June. So that is maybe within a few weeks. But they have some ambitions already, and that is to be more strategic, as it's said here, more resonant in form, and then understandable to the public. So I mean, that I think is maybe some of the basic values that they want to say base their considerations upon. So we have to wait and see how this will spell out in political reality. Concerning the events, this slide shows their first intentions. It's provisional, as you can see, that there will be NTCCP UDG meeting on 6th and 7th of July, but please note it, but also be aware that it can change. DG meeting on territorial, urban and housing matters from the 18th to the 20th of October, next year, and then also here the ESPON week is already indicated for the 5th to the 8th of December. And coming back to my former intervention, I mean, I would say we will, of course, both for the Luxembourg, but also for the Dutch and for the Slovakian, say, ambitions in relation to have discussions on ESPON. We will, of course, take note of that and include that in the outreach strategy of the operation proposal. Goes without saying that this is obvious. I think that is the main things. There was also a slide showing the new building in Brussels, and this is Avenue de Kortenberg, for those of you who know Brussels. A brand new development, so they are based now, as many other perm reps, very, very close to the center of say, decision making at European level. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And now we are really close to end this nice and pleasant event, and we hope you have got something very valuable and you to bring home, and will be useful for your future work to work together with the ESPON program. And I just want to sorry. I just want to say thank you for all of you to be active, to be here, and I hope you will bring some nice memories from Jūrmala back to home. And
yeah, I would also like to extend the thanks from the ESPON side to the Latvian Presidency for. It's not a surprise that we have been heavily involved also in the coordination unit in terms of making this seminar and an event. But I think it's fair to say without the Latvian Presidency it would never have become such a success as it was. It was done rather quickly, and I think the location in particular was a fantastic choice, and I might say I was also pushing a little bit for Jūrmala, because I was here actually 23 years ago as part of the Baltic Sea region development, and there was a lot of say attention to the area in order to keep it with some of the characteristics and the wooden houses and so on, as we have seen, all of us, that it has to some extent at least, and I think it was a very nice review, or what you call it, to see it again, and I thank you very much for picking this location and for all what you have done. And I would also say that you also have to be aware the change that is happening now will in fact also mean that the ESPON coordination unit will end its operation and not be say some body or some secretariat after the 1st of July, as it looks, and I think on behalf of all colleagues in the CU, I would also express thanks to all of you for all the different kind of contributions you have made during the programs, in particular the last one, and thank you for your cooperation. Thanks.